What's going on, FA Nation? Jon Impemba here with James Grande. Welcome into the Fantasy Alarm NBA DFS podcast and live stream for Monday's 15-game main slate. James, it is voting day on Tuesday, so the NBA decided to grace us with two monster slates this week. We have a 15-gamer on Monday. Then we come out of Tuesday's day off with a 13-game slate. So there are a lot of players. There are a lot of injuries.
All of the players.
A lot of injuries. Some interesting matchups here. All of that to kick off the week here. 15 games. You will be the lucky enough person to be doing the playbook for the 15 games to deal with already in the NBA and its madness with these guys being ruled out. Going around roster lock, all the updated injury news that we get. So, congratulations to you. I am sure you will lead us to another successful playbook, as we had a pretty good week last week with our playbook content, Discord calls, value video that we've done last week was great, and even some of the showdown content has some success there. So, again, you got to get in our Discord if you're a member here. Because we talk through everything. We give updated plays as news breaks as well. Not everything always makes it into the playbook update. We do the best that we can. But if you want the most up-to-date information, you got to find it into that Discord. So if you're watching us and you subscribe to Fantasy Alarm and you say, hey, I'm not in the Discord, give us a message either on the YouTube video. Hit James and I up on Twitter. Our Twitter handles are right below us on this video here. You can also find the Twitter on the YouTube video as well. I'm at J Impemba 777. James at the real _Grande. They're over on Twitter for those listening. So get us, let us know, and we can get you into the Discord chat, because there's always moving pieces to everything we're doing here, especially with the NBA.
Yeah, I think you nailed it. And it was prevalent last week, right? We got news right before lock. Donovan Mitchell was out, and we got news that Darius Garland was out, and we got news that there was a bunch of guys out, and it's not going to be any different on these big slates. Like, we have Steph Curry, Trae Young, Giannis, Embiid. Like, there is a lot of high-profile guys that are potentially in, potentially out. Like, you need to be hip to the news. Like, NBA DFS, for anyone that is new to this, more than anything, right, John? Like, we both play baseball, we both play basketball, we both dabble in CSGO, right? Like, from every other DFS sport does not require, I would say, as much attention to the ins and outs than basketball. And it doesn't happen as rapid in any other sport as it does basketball. You need to be hip. You need to be in the Discord. You need to be paying attention to the content updates. Usually it's labeled update in letter, like big bold lettering in the content at the bottom of the playbook or in the core plays. Like, and you'll see us constantly commenting in the Discord, hey, just made an update to the core plays. Hey, just added these players to the playbook. Like, need to stay hip to the news. 15-game slate, John, right? 15-game slate. If you are not hip to the news, you have to play light. Play light, play light, play light. Yeah. Because it's very hard to keep up. And John and I and Dylan Clemens and Ray Kuhn and everyone in the Discord is there doing that for you. We're helping. We are.
We have the lineups channel in the Discord, right? With all of the updated news when someone gets ruled out. So if you're just popping in after work and you want to know what's going on, like, check the lineups channel first. Scroll to the bottom, see all the most recent news, see who's in and who's out, to get that. And listen, just to close that point out before we start breaking down these positions, it was so bad with the NBA that they had to come out with a rule that teams had to release their lineups 30 minutes before tip-off. Right. Because teams were literally waiting until the game started, basically, to rule people out. And as they started becoming more integrated with sports betting and Vegas and all of these things, they're like, well, we kind of need these rosters out a little bit more for this information to be kind of out there for the betting people. So, and even then, they still don't do it. They'll call them a game time decision. They're going to work out before warm-ups, and next thing you know, they're all ruled out anyway. So, with that said, 15 games. Let's get into it. Top price plays on this slate. Again, everybody's on the slate. So, Giannis is at 12.6. Luka's at 12.5. Both of them, once again, over $12,000. Jokic is at 11.6. Durant is at 11-1. Those are your top 4 price guys, so keep that in mind as we go through the slate, because we're going to need some value on a big slate. We talk about it all the time. Sometimes on big slates, we don't find the need to spend up on big guys, but I think we're going to probably find a way, given all these injuries that you see just at the point guard spot. There's going to be value on this slate. So, top price point guards. Luka Doncic is at 12-5. Trae Young against Milwaukee is at 10-3. Ja Morant here is at 10-1. He's obviously playing tonight. He'll be on a back-to-back. Steph Curry, $9,900. He should be fine. It was just a rest day for those Warriors the other day. DeJounte Murray's at $9,800. SGA's at $94. Donovan Mitchell's at $92. Drew Holiday's $9K. That's your $9K in the both point guard range. I'm going to go big tiers here because there's so many players, in different ranges of guys. I'll say off the get, I love SGA at 94 against Detroit. They got blown out against Denver. What are you going to do there? He played 32 minutes, or Milwaukee rather. He played 32 minutes still. He didn't give you what he usually gives you, but I'm going to give him a pass. Tough spot. They were down $1 billion, and every other night he's giving you 30 plus. I like this spot, Oklahoma versus Detroit. I think it's a spot where we can get another ceiling type performance out of SGA at 9,400.
Yeah, and it wasn't as efficient offensively, which has become a staple of his, right? 56% shooting over his last 5 games, 53 on the year, just 43% in that game. And, just look up and down the box score. We're getting a lot more 50+% performances from SGA. We're getting a lot more 8+ free throw attempt games from SGA. So we should expect that against Detroit, who ranks near the bottom, essentially in every defensive category. Where do they rank? They're actually now dead last in defensive rating, John. So spot on with your SGA call. I would go Luka here. This is a spot against Brooklyn. We just talked about Detroit being the worst defensive unit. Brooklyn getting better there, but 21st still in the league, which kind of surprising. We're not too far removed from them being dead last there. So they are making strides, right? Good for them, but still something somewhat of a liability on the defensive end. We know Luka has 70-point upside, so I'd go there. I do want to include Dame in that 9K tier. He is questionable, and if Simons doesn't play, he's doubtful. I could see Dame if there's no restriction. Dame was a man on a mission prior to the injury. We don't have to go there because he's returning. It's 15 games. There might be a spot where Donovan Mitchell I think,
injured against Miami too, and at that point he had 22 points already in 26 minutes. So in Miami, the team of the past isn't as slow or defensive prowess as they were before, and Butler is also questionable for this game too. So
right, actually, I think I saw something earlier that he was off the injury report.
Oh, okay.
If I saw correctly, I can verify that. But I thought I saw Jimmy Butler.
Yeah, you're right. He's off the injury report. Yep.
Off the injury report, right? Okay. So, that's a fair point. Something to consider that Dame could be, but they can't afford to do that, right? Because they're using Butler in their forward spots.
Yeah, I wasn't saying they were going to use Butler to defend Dame. I was just thinking sort
Dame.
of the rest of the team there defensively for Miami. Hasn't been as strong, but getting Butler back, their team is a little bit more defensively stout, I guess I'll say.
Okay.
Again, Drew Holiday's. This should be a really good match between Milwaukee and Atlanta. And Holiday, as we've talked about, just continues to be really good. I understand this Thunder game, not his best performance, but still double there.
Look at the minutes too. They it's because it was a back-to-back. They monitored their whole team. It was one of those no one's playing more. Grayson Allen didn't start, played 19 minutes. They were just Giannis, you're gonna rest. Everyone else is just gonna chill, and that's kind of what happened. And Holiday still put up 40 fantasy points almost.
We saw this matchup already against Atlanta. It went 123-115, and he had 66 fantasy points. So
that seems quite good.
Seems good for Drew Holiday here. Under 9K, De'Aaron Fox returned the other day against the Magic. Went for 48 fantasy points, 37 actual. Just basically picked up right where he left off from the injury there. That game went into overtime too, worth mentioning. Golden State gonna likely have their starters back ready for this one, so we'll see how competitive the Kings can be. But that said, the Warriors were on a losing streak at the time. They lost 4 in a row, 5 in a row. So
yeah, they've lost a bunch of games in a row.
Yeah, so something to watch there. Halliburton against the Pelicans. We've talked about the Pelicans and their pretty good defense there. 3 of the last 4 games, 50-plus fantasy points for our boy Halliburton here. Let us down against Brooklyn 2 nights ago, but bounced back with a near triple-double against Miami. Again, probably goes overlooked at $8,500, but if you're making multiple builds or being contrarian, I think that fits fine. What are your thoughts on the 7K guys?
The 7K range, I mean, Hero's questionable. That stinks. But 78 with Butler returning, that's a little steep. Embiid is listed questionable. So 7,800 for Maxey feels properly priced. I don't really have like an opinion. I think we can get there if Embiid's out. I don't know if we can really get there at 78 if Embiid's in. I think Cade is in a pretty sneaky spot here. I'm not sure a lot of people go to Cade at 77. I shot poorly. They should. No, they should. But look, I mean, the thing about Cade is like when he is making shots, he is going to give you 50 fantasy points.
Yes.
And when he's not, like, still has room to get you 40. We just almost saw it against Cleveland. They got blown out. He only played 31 minutes, but 38 fantasy points. I don't think OKC is blowing anybody out.
That's exactly why I like it. And who's protecting the rim for the Thunder right now?
Nobody.
Nobody.
Mike Muscala.
That's what I'm saying. People will. I feel like we're getting a benefit here where he runs up against Milwaukee and Cleveland in back-to-back games, 2 really good front courts, right? Shot blockers, bunch of trees out there, and he has a down performance, right? And they get blown out. The Thunder aren't going to blow them out. So like I'm a big fan of Cade Cunningham here. At that 7K price tag. T. Rose came back. He was on a bit of a minutes limit, they told us. Yep. 36 minutes was the limit that he was on.
Good limit. Yeah, not 48, but only 36.
Right. Yeah, gonna come back. We'll see what happens there. 39 fantasy points for him. I love the price for him against Washington as well. Just a great spot. You talked about Siakam missing now 2 weeks. Van Vliet, they're gonna run it back. They're playing right now. Toronto, Chicago, running it right back the next night here. So you can certainly go there. A pretty good 7K range of guys.
It's funny how they're in Toronto and then they have to travel to Chicago to play.
They should just take the same plane and save gas.
Like, they should just play it both in Toronto. Like, why are you separating the 2 games? Like, we could just not do that. I think as long as Van Vliet's like healthy enough to go on, he has a big usage rate over the last 2 seasons, this season and last without Siakam. So he's in a good spot. I think KPJ in tournaments is fine.
We've seen what guards have done to Orlando all year long.
Yeah, so. Guards are going to kill Orlando all year long. I think the interesting 7K plays are Scotty Barnes, who, is off to another good start on Sunday. We are recording in, pretty early in that game. And then he's been pretty good this year. So I think the Barnes thing is probably more contingent upon, Siakam's out. So like, what am I saying? He's just a good play. But then like Jalen Brunson, fits in really well on this Knicks team.
There's so many good guards. Like again, big player pool. Sometimes you benefit because the ownership is going to be spread out on a lot of these guys here, especially in this tier range. And again, we talk about, this is our first look podcast, right? So we're breaking down the slate, but we're getting a good look at a lot of these guys for the first time and their pricing and in their tiers and guys that we like. And, Minnesota hasn't been a great defensive team with their starting unit. No. Rudy Gobert is out again as he's in, the COVID protocols for the league here. So they don't really have much rim protection in that lineup. And Brunson's really been playing well lately. Boston and Philly, 2 tough matchups for him. He comes out of there with 40 fantasy points in both. So getting a little bit of a price bump, but he's kind of hovered around this high 6, low 7s, for most of the year. So I like him in cash. I think he's a cash game play.
Yeah, 7,100, love him in cash. I think there's a great floor there. 10 assists, no turnovers again, John. The guy cares about the basketball.
Yes.
He cares about the basketball.
Darius Garland, I told you the other day he was too cheap against Boston when he was 6,600. He goes out there and gives you 62 fantasy points. 6,900, I feel the same way. He's just too cheap.
So he did play today, 24, 7, and 4 for Garland.
Yeah.
Mitchell 33 and 5. So both both just having good game after
He's
good
an 8K
game.
player, even playing next to Donnie Mitch. You're getting him at a discount. Like you got him.
Agreed.
You have to play him. He's not gonna be this cheap again. He opened the year at 71. He missed a bunch of time. He came back at 66. Now he's 69. I'm telling you, the next time they play, if that's Wednesday, like he might be 75.
Yep.
You know, if he goes out there and gives you another 45, 50 fantasy points at this price point. That's a borderline core play, I think, for me, Garland at 69. I just,
Clippers on a back-to-back. John Wall's probably going to sit. You don't know if they're going to play Paul George. Like that could be an absolute depleted team.
Yep. Gideon tournaments. If you're going to game stack OKC Detroit, do you have a total on that one?
OKC Detroit is I don't see one.
Okay. Whenever we get the total, I bet it.
Oh yeah, 223.5.
Okay. Yeah, in the mid tier there.
All right, I was going through 43 games tomorrow. Must have missed it there.
No arguments. So Gideon tournaments, I think it's fine. Just the game flow matchup. If you're stacking that one, can flirt with triple doubles. I haven't seen the real upside totally yet, but it's like hard for him to get there when SGA is just so ball dominant at the moment. Yep. You really need him to get those secondary statistics here. The benefit of recording live here, James, is that sometimes we get news updates. As we're recording, OG Anunoby just going to the locker room with a potential injury. So we're talking about this slate now. If OG ends up having a serious injury or misses time, they're already without Siakam. Reevaluate how we're looking at Barnes. Reevaluate how we look at Van Vliet, Gary Trent. In that whole roster there. So keep in mind as we're recording now, if we get any more updates throughout the rest of this recording, we'll certainly give you some takes on that situation there. So more mid-tier 6K guys. Kyle Lowry's been playing really well. Gets his spot against Portland, but talk to me about Russell Westbrook, man. Six-man Westbrook is really playing well. You talked about it, like get him away from LeBron and AD and sort of like in his own little ecosystem of playing time and offense, and he's very much paying off this price tag. 34, 39, 34, 42 fantasy points the last 4 games. They just faced Utah. Gonna run it right back against Utah.
Yeah, and then today, so they played Cleveland. He did have 7 turnovers, not great.
Tough spot against Cleveland, for sure.
Okay, but tough spot. Even with Pat Beverly off the floor, he played 32 minutes, came off the bench, was the key again. 19 and 10, so had a double-double, 3 rebounds, 2 steals, and a block, hit 3 threes. So, like, wherever those turnovers went, made up for his steals and blocks, hit 3 threes, got a point and a half back there, like, another double-double. I like you said, I've been saying it, like, I think that there is, you just continue to stagger these guys. Like, there's no reason to play them at the same time when Russ looks this good. So, yeah, I mean, I'd go there in tournaments. It's not a cash game play. It's a very risky tournament play, considering it's a back-to-back. But, like, who knows if Anthony Davis and LeBron play in a back-to-back? Like, we could also be them without one of those guys. And then what happens? Russ comes off the bench and he just plays 35 minutes, and he's just crazy ball dominant. So.
Yeah. Might have been a bathroom break for OG. He's just returned to the bench. So, again, we'll keep everybody updated there on any status. See how quickly those news updates come. Always good to have push notifications turned on when you're heavily invested into the NBA DFS realm there. So Ben Simmons, I'm very curious here if he does play or not. I know it's not the best spot. We talk all the time. Like going up against Dallas just feels like a struggle a lot of times for those teams. They play slow. They play good defense. If Ben Simmons is active though, no Kyrie Irving now, like I wonder what that looks like for Ben Simmons without, or like, does he now shoot a little bit more? Does he utilize his driving ability more now that there's not Kyrie Irving kind of to handle the basketball? Do the assist totals go up? Well, now he already had good assist totals, but like, is he even more involved? So I'm curious to see how Ben Simmons will look in this spot. Probably a fade just because he's coming back from injury in the matchup against Dallas, but something to look at there. Under 6K or 6K, low 6K and under. I mean, do you have interest in Jamal Murray, I guess, 62? Like Clarkson revenge here?
Yeah.
Like any thoughts?
Yeah, I think Jamal Murray is great. 27 fantasy points in 23 minutes again. He's over the last 3 games, he's been at a fantasy point per minute or better in each of them. He just looks better offensively too. Like we're getting assists. We've had a couple games with 4 or more rebounds lately. So I think Murray in tournaments. I do like Jalen Suggs in tournaments. I've said it a million times. I know he was really bad last game.
Dude.
He let everyone down. I think that's the roller coaster. Like Jalen Suggs is like really high. It's really low. It's really high. It's very hard to trust. It's tournament play only. But, we've been saying it for 2 years. Like Houston, what do we know?
Yeah.
They are very bad defensively, 27th. They're very fast. They are 7th in pace. Like,
good contrarian tournament play. I think my problem with Suggs is that he can't be a core play for you. We're not recommending that. He definitely is like a one-off play. My problem with Suggs is that there are better scorers on that team that if they get hot, it feels like any one of them just like he didn't score at all last game. But you look at the box score, like Carter, Paulo,
Banchero went nuts.
Like they all just were scoring. They couldn't be stopped, right? So like that's why he had 9 assists or whatever it was in that game because he didn't need to shoot. He had 4 shots going into overtime. He took 3 threes in overtime, missed them all. So he just not only was he fouling every time when he was out there, he wasn't shooting because all of those guys are so hot. They couldn't be stopped. So I worry that at times like he understands what his role is kind of. And it's not to be that ball dominant point guard. Like if that was Cole Anthony's taking 15 shots. Like he doesn't care, right? Jalen Suggs, if he starts making shots like we saw against Golden State, he'll take them. That it looked like he was pretty willing to defer to the better matchup there. So in tournaments, probably a good game sack play at 5,800 for the price because Paolo and all them will be a little bit more expensive. Sure. So I don't mind it as a tournament play. Melton started in the starting lineup the other day. Would you consider running it back with him? He played 30 minutes, gave you almost 40 fantasy points against the Knicks.
Yeah, I mean he's a really high fantasy point per minute guy. I think if Embiid's back, I'd be more inclined to play him probably because the price versus Maxey at 78. Maybe that's a bad take, but I feel like I feel pretty comfortable getting to Melton 53 because I assume with no Harden, Melton's just in the starting lineup anyway.
Yeah,
that's just my.
Well, that's what I'm feeling. Yeah, and and he's always given us defensive stats, right? I mean, you and I have talked about Melton for years now. We wanted him to play more. Well, he's playing more. He played 30 minutes. He gave you 40 fantasy points. Like that's what he can. That's what he can do. Maybe Phoenix is a tough spot for you, but I mean, we'll see how it kind of how it shapes out there. More low 5K guys. Ao, assuming Levine's still out, but he's starting really regardless.
I think Levine plays. It's the back-to-back that Levine they sat him. He looked bad. He looked really, really bad the last back-to-back. So I think the Bulls were probably like, all right, let's let's chill a little bit on these back-to-backs.
I'm not gonna play Shaedon Sharpe even if guys are out. He just hasn't done enough for me there.
Nope.
Brogdon, 29 and 28 minutes the last 2 games for him.
Yeah, love it.
$5,200, and we talked about earlier this year. We thought 49 was too low, and then he kind of like fell off a little bit. But I think the Celtics are really starting to maybe come around on him. 2 20-point games in the last 4 as well. So just a nice price tag for him there.
He's just so good. Like he's just so good. He's been so good before when he got drafted to Milwaukee, got in the second round, and then they're like, oh crap, this dude can play, and they gave him the deal, and then they like traded him, which Milwaukee doesn't really make mistakes like that. Right. Like they just like give him away. Like imagine that team with Malcolm Brogdon right now. I'm interested. I guess 2 games ago he played the minutes with Horford, and then he plays the minutes without Horford. I wonder. I mean, maybe it just doesn't matter, and he's just going to start playing like over Derek White, right? Yeah. Or take minutes away from Grant Williams. Because again, we've talked about it a bunch. Like the Celtics have no problem going smaller.
Yeah, he was in their final 5 the other day. So
with Horford active, right?
No, that was their Knicks game. He's in the final 5 against the Knicks. They had Brown, Tatum, Grant Williams, White, and Smart. Brogdon and Smart was their final 5. They played Grant Williams at the 5. Okay. But you sub in Horford for Grant Williams there, and that's your final 5. So I think he's playing over White in their final 5 right now. And what's White's minutes? Is White's minutes starting to go down a little bit, or is he?
Well, the last game, he played 22, 26, 32 the last 3. Yeah. So the minutes
32 was the OT game versus Cleveland.
Right. And it's hard to like the Knicks minutes because there was no Al Horford. And he still only played 22 minutes. That's like super discouraging.
Yeah, I mean, I think Brogdon should be playing over him the majority of the time.
I'm all in. Then I'm all in on with your Brogdon call.
Yeah. Other low 5K, anybody? Reggie Jackson. We assume John Wall doesn't play a back-to-back here.
Yeah, Yeah, they've just been like limiting Reggie Jackson too, right? Like he's just
it's not. I mean, it's against Cleveland.
It's a terrible spot. It's a terrible spot.
Monty Morris. What's the Beal thing? Is that an injury or is he just out?
Yeah, Beal's in COVID.
COVID, right?
I believe. I think. Yeah. I think he's in. Yeah, he's in protocol.
Okay, Monty against Charlotte at 48.
Yep. Back to back. Started off Monday's game, or it's not Monday.
Sunday?
Ooh, 15. This is what happens when you go through 15 games of point guards, John. Like you just lose where you're at.
We're still in. We're currently 25 minutes into this recording, and we're still on point guard. So
Monty Morris, I think, is perfectly fine. I mean, he's had the ceiling was 34, but like there's no Bradley Beal, so who's to say the ceiling isn't 40?
He's got 8 points and an assist in 7 minutes so far.
Pretty good, man.
He's out there.
You know what? And that dude can score. He can score the basketball. And they're gonna obviously need that without Bradley Beal.
Yep. All right. Point guard value. Just give me some names here, so we're not running down the entire list. Who are you in on? Who are you out on?
Point guard value.
Are you reading anything into Cameron
Vincent,
Thomas? 32 and 29 minutes.
That everyone's out. But sure. I mean, I guess maybe Simmons being back would hurt that.
Sure.
But like they're starting Sumner, playing him 17 minutes, and then going to Cam Thomas. I guess the question is, Seth Curry's going to ramp up, right?
Sure.
15 minutes last game. Joe Harris is going to continue to ramp up. He played 24 and 30 in the back-to-back. So like maybe Cam Thomas. I guess we'd have to see like ownership there. Like if the industry's in on him and there's like good projections out there for him via Fanjections, then maybe.
Sure.
Maybe. But
okay.
I don't think there's a lot of point guard value other than Cam Thomas, honestly, at this time.
Let's go to shooting guard then. We talked about DeJounte a bit here. You can certainly play him against Milwaukee. Paul George on a back-to-back. I guess we have to wait and see, but not really the best spot for him against Cleveland.
No.
Donnie Mitch, we've discussed a little bit, like him against the Clippers, but could be a blowout if the Clippers do decide to sit some of their guys here. Booker's at 9K against Philly. McCollum gets the Pacers at 85. Jaylen Brown against Memphis at 84. Anthony Edwards against the Knicks. Brandon Ingram against the Pacers. Thoughts in the 8K range?
It's all fine, right? Like Booker's fine. I think Devin Booker's settling into like too expensive range for both of us. I don't think either of us really played Devin Booker.
Right. No,
it felt like he was having a huge game, and I guess he was against Portland, but he didn't play in the fourth quarter. But like 38 fantasy points at 9K just doesn't get it done. CJM back-to-back big games, 3 straight big games. I guess with
everybody healthy too, he's playing.
And it's an elite spot, like as good as it's gonna get. Same thing can be said for Ingram.
Do the Pacers hang with the Pelicans?
I know, dude. The Pelicans are so good. Maybe like because
I'll say the Pacers definitely have some scorers though, right? Like Maturin.
Sure.
Yeah, Duarte's out, so
Duarte's out.
Maturin healed. Halliburton can certainly score. Miles Turner can certainly score, but I don't know if they can hit shots consistently enough to not just fall back double digits here against the Pelicans.
Let's see what the spread is. It's only 6. 235 total, biggest on the board, I believe. Just scrolling through, 235 total. The only problem is going to be with the Pelicans, and I guess like maybe I shouldn't be looking into it that much because Ingram's been really good both games. Fantasy-wise, he was really bad shooting against Atlanta.
Yes.
McCollum's been just really good from a fantasy perspective lately, and Zion's been good from a fantasy perspective. There are just so many of them.
Yeah.
But apparently Zion's questionable, but they're talking about cramping. He's not going to be cramping from Saturday until now.
Probably not.
So that's the only thing I would I caution. I fight with in my brain, John. I'm like, damn, can all these guys get there? Because they're all priced up, right?
Yeah.
There's no one priced ooh, that's a value. None of them are a value. I think they're all kind of
you're paying top dollar for them.
You're paying top dollar. So for me, I think the Pelicans are fine as a whole, but I just feel like they're priced appropriately, and you're not really getting any type of value. It would seem
unlikely any of them go for
60.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's obviously the opportunity. They obviously can because they're very talented. Would Zion scoring 40 actual surprise you? Would Ingram scoring 40 actual surprise you? No.
Yeah.
But they're all such high usage guys that it's hard to really get excited about 85, 8,000, and what Zion 86.
Bain at 77. Would you consider running him against Boston the way he's been shooting the basketball?
Maybe back to back. Back to back. He's at home. They're playing a home and home, so it's like not terrible, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like they get both these games at home, so I don't hate it, but like it's fine.
Sure,
it's fine.
Hield gets a little bit of a revenge game there at 66. You've talked about it. He's expensive, but I mean, big price bump finally.
I mean, no, but it doesn't even matter, does it? Like he
wants to be traded so bad. He's like, I look at what I can do. Like Lakers or somebody, come get me.
Dude, he's making twos. He's making all his threes.
Yeah.
He's rebounding the crap out of the ball.
Yeah. Almost
first
averaging
game
a steal per game. Yeah.
I know. Like, and then he goes for 40 without any assists. And the 2 games prior, he has 7 and 8. Like, he's really doing no wrong right now. And you mentioned no Duarte. Like, just pencil him in for all the minutes because there's no one that can come get him off the floor.
Yeah, Vassell is on some sort of minutes restriction.
Yeah, it's been so annoying coming off the bench on a minutes restriction and still dominating.
So I don't know.
So annoying.
I probably can't pay 6,600 because of it, but I mean, like, if they don't tell us he's on a minutes restriction tomorrow, I would consider it. I mean, he's been very good. Jalen Green is questionable here. That's one probable, I guess. Knee contusion again. I just like game stacking Orlando, Houston. Yep. I don't think we need to break down every play in that game. They're just kind of in because of the game they're in. Let's see here. Feel the same way about Oubre against Washington. Probably just kind of run that one back. Dinwiddie revenge against Brooklyn. I think we had this matchup already. Do we not have Brooklyn versus?
Yeah, we did.
We did. He had only 24 fantasy points in that game there.
Yeah, and there was almost 250 points scored, or there was 250 points scored.
Yeah, that was the 80 point game.
Yeah,
for
that was the 80 for. Yeah, that was the 80 for
the
Luka.
overtime game.
Yep, sure was.
Yep,
sure was.
Again, Matoran at 59. I have interest in. Guy just
tournaments.
Jaden Ivey again, sort of the same sense. You can game stack it if you want. He had a tough shooting night against Milwaukee, but actually bounced back and was pretty good in that blowout loss to Cleveland there. 30 fantasy points for him. So I'm fine. I'm interested in it. Any other guys in this 5K range for you?
Yeah, Clay in tournaments has looked pretty good lately shooting, especially last game where he scored 27 actual. I think he's still too cheap.
I think Charles Barkley got under his skin a little bit.
Charles Barkley did, and he made sure Charles Barkley knew that he hurt him. So I think Clay is fine. We talked about Melton. We talked about Io, Brogdon 52. And then we get to like the 5K guys and under.
Yeah.
Do
you play Bones?
Could play Bones. There was
and those are ridiculous numbers.
And you know what, too, when you think about it, he comes off the crazy game against Utah and then comes off a crazy game against the Spurs. They're going to blow the Spurs out. So,
probably. Yeah. Right.
Highland's going to play another 25 minutes, right?
Yep.
So, in game theory, I know it's expensive, and it was 41-44 the last 2. If you think blowout, the line in this game is only 7.5, which is kind of surprising, but 235.5 total. If you suspect blowout, then I think it's pretty.
I'm surprised he doesn't play anyways 25 minutes, but
yeah. I guess it maybe the liability defensively is not good there.
Sure.
It would be there's only one ball for him, Porter, Jokic, and Murray all on the floor at once.
Yeah. Sexton's at 46. We like that. I think we might have talked about that at point guard, but
no, I didn't. And you know what? I was a little worried about the back-to-back, but the 28th and 29th of November, he played 16 minutes against Denver, then played 32 against Memphis the next night.
Sure.
Just seems to be just the guy now off their bench.
Yep.
He's just their guy.
Any interest in Joe Harris here? Played 30 minutes the other day. 4,300.
Yeah, I would have more interest, I think, if there's no Simmons, just because, the necessity.
Okay. He's shooting a lot. He's not hitting anything, but he's at least shooting.
Yeah. A tough spot, too. Not the best spot for.
This guy did win a 3-point contest, so
he did. No, very good shooter. He's going to come around.
For those doing
Shooting Joe Harris is going to come around.
Sure. Yeah, for sure. Jalen Williams, the other Jalen Williams, 20 minutes there, probably tough to get to.
Yeah, he's coming off the bench too.
Yeah, he did start randomly for that like one awkward
That
game.
one game where they're just like, well, dude, here's the thing. It's a 15-game slate. If you're playing anyone on the Thunder other than SGA, you're doing DFS. Like, maybe Giddey, I feel like you're doing things wrong.
Okay.
Not you, just like
no,
the masses. Like,
totally
it's
okay.
just...
Totally okay. Maybe Terrace Mann, if somebody else is ruled out here for the Clippers.
Yeah, I think Kennard's already out.
He's $3,300. I'm just saying, like, if nobody is playing for them, there's gonna be probably some value for the Clippers. So
agreed.
We'll see what goes on for there. All right, small forward, KD at 11-1. Are you paying the price against Dallas?
You can because it's again only Chef in town, and the last time he went 12 of 21 for 37 actual. Simmons was in that game.
Yep.
And he took all the rebounds.
Simmons and Kyrie. Yeah.
And Kyrie was in that game, and Kyrie scored a lot.
If Simmons is active, does that change your feelings on Durant at all?
Maybe a little. I'll say not like I'm not like overly concerned, but I am slightly concerned.
Okay.
Sure.
Tatum in tournaments, if you want to go there, you can. Again, he gave you 260s basically in the last three.
Yep.
So if you wanna run some JT, that's fine. I don't think many people will be on that train with you. We talked about George briefly.
Fun game, by the way. The Boston-Memphis game, 230.5 total. I don't think there's going to be a lot of defense.
No, without Rob Williams, Boston just doesn't play a lot.
They don't care.
Al Horford coming back will help that a little bit, but they literally had Noah Vonleh, Cornette, and Grant Williams playing the 5 the other day. And I played Randall. You like eyeballed me when you saw Randall in my lineup, and I'm like, dude, they have nobody to play to play the 5. So. And they just kind of went in that direction. So DeRozan on a back-to-back at 83, but again, you mentioning the Levine likely return there. Markkanen's at 75, Keldon's at 72. Any of these guys sticking out to you here?
I mean, Markkanen just went for 27. Dude, he is crazy this year. This is nuts to see. As a guy who was like very high on him out of the draft, right? Yeah. Like going to your favorite team, it's like, where the fudge was this guy? Yeah. But hey, man, 255 plus fantasy point games in the last 3. One of them coming in LA against the Lakers. And you kind of alluded to it, like the Lakers defensively are rating out like pretty well, but like they're slowly falling back. Teams are scoring a bunch of points against them now. So like, maybe it was a facade and maybe they're not actually that good. So, yeah, I think Markkanen is fine. Scotty Barnes is having a huge game. I think that's just going to be a thing if there's no Siakam. Like, we play Scotty Barnes. And Keldon just feels stale at this price.
No real upside. I agree.
No.
Again, Houston, Orlando, play them all. Bol, Franz, whatever you want. Bol's played 37 minutes. Why he played 19 against Golden State? But 37 against Sacramento.
I'm so annoyed. I had him that night.
We both had him that night. We both were all.
Oh yeah, true. Yeah.
If JoJo was out, Toby, we were all over that play the other day. Yep. 46 fantasy points. I would run that back in a heartbeat.
Absolutely.
Against Phoenix, and no Cam J, who's playing power forward for.
Torrey Craig.
Good
He started.
Player.
Yeah.
Good defensive player.
He had a big defensive game. In that game, again, they blew him out and didn't play in the fourth quarter, but he had like 26 fantasy points in limited time. Yep. So
we all remember like the 50-point Torrey Craig game from last year. So.
Yep. Bowers, our longtime listener, longtime friend, longtime member of the FA Nation, I think he went out and like got Torrey Craig's number tattooed on his back or something like that. So because I think Torrey Craig, I don't know if he won him a tournament, but Torrey Craig did something to like win him a bunch of money. So Bowers is getting super excited hearing Torrey Craig's name.
Torrey Craig, exactly. So OG, if he's healthy and good, 62. We talked about he's got 16 steals the last 3 games.
Yeah, he's playing right now, John. By the way, back in the games.
Yeah. So definitely gonna be in on that for sure. Let's see here. Any guys in these 5K range jumping out to you? Lonnie
5K,
Walker at 53, maybe.
19 minutes today. I don't know. That was the first time in a while he's seen decrease in minutes.
Maybe a back-to-back problem, or
maybe. I mean, I mean,
He's done nothing to lose minutes. He's been outstanding. So
let's see what the reason was. Was there's foul trouble? He had 5 fouls. So random foul trouble not gonna happen. Like very unlikely to happen again. So yeah, tournaments that's fine.
Jalen McDaniels may be a favorite of mine. No Hayward again in this game.
Maybe.
I know Rozier's back, but he still played 28 minutes against Brooklyn. Wasn't his best performance, but still. We saw him against Chicago when we called him on the podcast, and he went for 34 fantasy points, 5 steals and 2 blocks in that game. I just think he's going to be active. The McDaniels brothers, right? They're just like energy active guys. So, and you're getting him in a good spot against Washington here, in my opinion.
Yeah, I don't hate it. I'm a little.
They're actually the exact same price. Both McDaniels brothers are the exact same price.
They both. Is Jaden only power forwards?
Yeah, no, small forward. Jaden is small forward.
Oh, I see him. They're right next to each other. Holy smokes. Okay.
They're twins,
Jalen,
for those who aren't aware.
Yeah. Jalen just let us down big time in that Memphis game when he started. They got absolutely torched. They got absolutely blown out. They didn't even deserve to be on the floor that night.
Yeah.
Started, and he was like 30% owned and just shit the bed.
Yep.
So that's still fresh on my mind. Not gonna lie.
I'm willing to run him back in a better spot.
I'm willing to go back as well.
Yeah.
You got to in DFS. You gotta forget about the last performance.
Yeah. Jaden gave you 35 minutes against Houston. Again, no Gobert. 13, 5, and 3. I think the minutes are going to be pretty secure for him without Gobert there because Towns moves to the 5 basically, or they played Naz Reid at the 5, but I don't think he didn't play like 30 minutes there. So
no, you know what they did? They played Kyle Anderson.
They started Kyle Anderson at power forward. That's what they did.
And he played 31 minutes and had a classic slow-mo performance. 16, 6, 3, and 3 steals on 7 shots. 4,100 for slow-mo, dude.
I think both are in play.
Yeah.
There for sure. Looking for some value on this big slate. Anybody else for you? I mean, Norm's at 47, but again, bad spot against Cleveland. If Winslow's active, I'd be willing to play some Justice Winslow here.
Yep. Especially if both point guards are out. They started him at point guard the other day.
Yeah.
So he would essentially
12, 9, and 9 in that game against Phoenix 2 nights ago.
Yeah, he's essentially the starting point guard if Dame and Dame questionable, Simon's doubtful. If they both sit, it's going to be Winslow and it's going to be Keon Johnson off the bench.
Yep. Let's see.
I would say Pat will.
Okay, yeah. KJ Martin's been playing a lot of minutes lately as well.
KJ Martin, he started the other day. I think Jabari Smith. Let's see. Jabari Smith already ruled. No, Jabari Smith probable, so he should be back. So Martin should shift back to the bench, but we'll see.
Did you see Kerr say that Kuminga will be in their rotation moving forward?
That's awesome. I'm really excited about that because the guy is a good basketball player.
But what does that mean? Does he get Wiseman's 15 minutes or?
Well, did you see the whole thing with Wiseman where he was complaining about not getting a?
Yes, I tweeted about it. I said on a game where they bench all of their starters, James Wiseman only managed 17 minutes.
Yeah, I don't know if Wiseman's gonna be out of the rotation, but
What's wild to me is they just exercised his option too.
Yeah, yep, just exercised his option.
They paid him $12 million not to play.
I mean, they could. I mean, so they're giving think about the minutes, right? They're giving JaMychal Green minutes. He could be taking some JaMychal Green minutes. They're playing Moses Moody a bunch off the bench. He could just be like that 3-4 swingman, maybe even the small ball center, as you mentioned. So he could play 3 through 5 if they go small, because they can go small and they'll just have Draymond, right? That's their small ball center anyway. So I don't think I'd go to Kuminga. I want to see what the minutes look like with him in the rotation moving forward.
Sure. Okay. I don't mind the Patrick Williams call. He's playing 30 minutes. Troy Brown, is he in the rotation still? Sort of, kind of.
He started and played 30 minutes today, John. 12 and 6. Did nothing else. 12 and 6, hit 2 threes. So
okay.
Don't hate it.
Not the worst, I guess, for value there. Just trying to see if there's any value. If Otto Porter in a back-to-back probably wouldn't play, right? The way they're kind of.
No, it's probably not. It's probably the Minnesota guys. It's probably pick your Minnesota guy. If
sure.
Gobert, I mean, Prince played 31 minutes too.
So Cam Reddish played 37 against Boston.
And started
with Quentin Grimes out. Grimes is out and Reddish starts again. Would you play Reddish at 3,400?
Yes, tournaments only though.
Okay.
He's just like he just doesn't look like that the same guy right now, right? Like he just doesn't. I don't know what it is, but he doesn't look great.
Okay. Let's see here. Anybody else? Nazir Litter, not really. Played 23. Sam Hauser had a good game the other day.
Yeah, he did have a good game.
Hit 5 threes. I mean, that's literally what his role is on that team, but probably too much of a dart throw. All right, wasting too much time here. Power forward. I guess we'll see what Talon Horton Tucker does tonight, right? If Vanderbilt doesn't play, if THT ends up getting a lot of that run, we could potentially take a look at him there. Power forward. Giannis is at 12-6 against Atlanta in that matchup earlier this year. He went for 64 fantasy points, which is not 5x. It's close to 5x on this price point here. That would be 63 would be 5x, so he just over 5x to you at 12-6. I'm telling you, it's just too expensive. He needs to go for like 80 to be worthy, in my opinion, of $12,600. So I don't think I'm going to pay for Giannis.
Yeah, there's not. I don't disagree. There's not a lot of value. I think he is a better option. I don't have the FanDuel price in front of me, but I think he's just a better option over there because the blocks and steals upside. That's just, I think, where I stand on that.
Other guys, LeBron's at 10-7. Again, if you want to go LeBron against Utah, nobody's going to tell you not to. Again, he just hasn't hit 50 points in a while, 50 fantasy points in a bit. Towns against Hartenstein is a matchup I would like to have.
Yes.
Towns is 10K at home here. I think we're going to be happy to roll this one out here.
We just, please, man, just stay out of foul trouble. Please. Like, that's the only thing that, like, we have to worry about. Yep. Like, if he gets in foul trouble.
Anthony Davis, you and I were licking our chops the other day because at halftime he had 20 points and, like, 5 rebounds
and a block. And
then he played the entire second half just running suicides, basically, on the floor. He did nothing.
Got a good work. He definitely got a good workout in.
Yeah, finished with 22 actual points for 39 fantasy points. Was on pace for, like, 70 fantasy points. It was the spot of the spot. And he just did nothing with it. So I'll run it back. Hopefully people got burned by it. 9,100 again, going up against Market and Olynyk. Davis is gonna just ruin that spot there for them. So Boncaro went for 62. Again, talk about it. Play him. It's Houston, great spot. On the flip side, I still like Randall at 76. Towns not a great defender. If Kyle Anderson is their power forward, like I think Randall's gonna have a lot of size on him there. So I'm good with that spot. Let's see here. Oh, man. Portis is 69. It's too expensive at this point.
Yep.
Bol, we talked about it. If you want to take the chance at 66, you can. Toby, we've talked about. Any interest in Grant here? Obviously, fell back down a little bit after this big performance against Phoenix the game prior. They played back-to-back nights, and they got blown out, and he struggled.
Yeah, if Dame's out,
okay.
I'd get there.
All right. Any other 6K, 5K guys?
Draymond, I think, is okay. 58. Don't think you need to go there, but I think it's fine. Same with Aaron Gordon. Like Aaron Gordon, up and down, roller coaster ride. 40. Dude, the Aaron Gordon experience is in full effect this year, huh? Last 5 games, 28 fantasy points, 7 fantasy points, 30, 41, 18. Like, it's just, but it's the Spurs. I think this is a great spot for him if you think that game can stay close.
Sure.
Both those guys are fine.
Okay. Strauss played 40 minutes the other day. He just keeps playing a bunch of minutes there.
Yeah, I mean, even with Butler coming back, I assume he's going to play. And then, you factor in, what if Butler comes back and Hero sits? Strauss just finds himself playing another 40. So
yeah, I agree with you there. You and I talked about this. The minutes for Larry Nance lately, 31, 29, 27. They did not play Valanciunas basically the final 13 minutes of the game the other day. They just took him off the floor for Nance in their lineup. Any interest here at 54 against the Pacers?
Yeah, and you got to think Miles Turner being the athletic player that he is helps Nance, right? Because Nance is athletic and Valanciunas just isn't. So, I think he's definitely in play.
Okay. Any other 5K power forwards for you?
Jalen Smith dead with the return Kevin Love, if anyone's out, is interesting,
Okay.
but only if someone's out. I mentioned it 2 slates ago. And he went crazy, 21, 10, and 8 in 23 minutes. Boucher is fine, I think, for tournaments.
Okay.
Torrey Craig, 4K.
Torrey Craig. Yep. Torrey Craig at 4K. 22 minutes, then, 25 fantasy points. 23 minutes, 19 fantasy points. Good value.
And we mentioned both Minnesota guys in Anderson and all the Minnesota guys. Naz Reid,
yeah.
They're all power forward eligible. They're all in play.
Yep, I agree with you. Just seeing if anybody else kind of jumps out here or not. I don't really see a ton. What did Tucker do? Tucker play a bunch? Not really. 25 minutes there. Low volume. All right, go to center. We'll finish this off here, and we'll make our lineup. Joker's at 11-6, but again, we're expecting kind of a blowout. I don't think he's gonna hit the value that we need him to there. Would you do Embiid if he's in the game against Phoenix at 10-4, or would you rather just play Towns at 10K?
I'd probably rather play Towns, but obviously Embiid without Harden is pretty appealing, right? Like that's a pretty good spot.
Yep, I agree with you there. Sabonis against Golden State's at 86. I know you've been going at bigs against Golden State. Would that interest you?
Yeah, and I mean, dude, like the guy just stays out of foul trouble, and look what happens. Like we get back-to-back 20-point double-doubles with 6 or more assists. Like just stay out of foul trouble. That's it.
Yep.
That's it.
Yep. It's a good spot for him. I agree with you there. Wendell Carter and Porzingis against Charlotte. Love that spot for him.
Yep. With no Beal.
At 77 for sure.
Did you mention Kuzma? I'm sorry if you did at power forward.
No, I didn't.
I would throw Kuzma.
I haven't played a lot of Kuzma. You're in on Kuzma? Obviously,
well, no Beal. Just no Beal, yeah.
Okay.
Big time usage rate without Beal. This evening at halftime, 8-6-1 in a block. Like, pretty good. On pace for 40 fantasy points. So
okay. Valanciunas, as I mentioned, only 26 minutes in that game. He still went for 40. I mean, it just 24, 22, 19, and 26 minutes these last 4 games. Like I don't really understand it because he's been pretty productive on the floor. Right. But you think it's just a defensive thing, right? He's just
probably Toronto. I mean, the Nance athleticism, and he can probably cover for Zion better than Valanciunas can.
Sengun at 65 is fine.
He's a freak.
Yeah.
Like the fact that he even got 32 fantasy points in that game is craziness.
Yeah, I agree with you there. Brolo at 58. We've been playing a lot of Brook Lopez lately, so even with Giannis in or not, like we're fine. I know he let us down a little bit against that Minnesota game. Only 19 fantasy points there, but he had 36 against Atlanta previously, so I don't mind it at 58. Just a good price. Turner, as long as he's playing 30 minutes, I have interest. So.
Dude, what? Like,
will he play 30 minutes is a bigger.
I guess. There's no back-to-back. There's no games Tuesday, so.
As long as they don't get blown out, we're not expecting to. Isaiah Stewart is in a good spot here. Yep. Is Jalen Duran back yet or no?
I think there was a status update on Jalen Duran.
He is probable. He's probable. You know what though? But we're still seeing Stewart play 30 minutes in games where he was active. I just like this again. The Thunder have nobody playing center, so I like Isaiah Stewart at 56.
Yep.
Adams at 55. We've talked about Boston against the bigs this year. They just aren't doing it. No Rob Williams, and Horford is just not there consistently enough to really make a difference in that spot. So I like Adams at 55 here. Anybody else for Hartenstein at 52? Right, we'd run the other side of that one.
Yeah. Double had like 8 rebounds on the first quarter in that game. So
super active. Plumlee's still playing 30 minutes. Get him against Porzingis on the other side of that one.
If JoJo's out, Plumlee, yep. If JoJo's out, they actually started Montrezl Harrell and he played 29 minutes.
And they played him. So, 4,500 if he's active, I'll play it. I'd play it on Montrezl. That's sure.
Kevon Looney, 42 maybe?
Maybe.
You don't need to. You don't need to.
I'd rather play either Boucher or Chua.
Okay.
Whichever
it's
one.
A big slate.
Yeah, whatever one happens. 42 and 44 for both of them. So, a good price tag there. Like somebody's gonna play big minutes for Detroit for OKC. I just don't know who it's gonna be. It's gonna be Poku, Robinson, Earl, Baisley. Like somebody is gonna play their big minutes. It should be Poku. It feels like he's been the best or Basley, but I just don't get it. consistently enough there. So that is our look at center. Let's build our lineup here. What are we locking in? I want to lock in Garland. Will you let me lock in Garland?
Yeah, that's absolutely.
Okay. Lock in Garland at point guard. Did we have a particular spend up we liked? We liked Towns. Did you want to do Towns versus the Knicks?
Yeah, I mean, we like Towns. I think everyone else is like just kind of too expensive.
Yeah, I'm kind of in that.
Want to use Towns power forward or center?
I got him at center for now, but we can certainly pivot if we have the need to.
No, I think that's fine. That should be fine.
Who are our 4K plays here in that?
The Minnesota guys. So Anderson or Prince or
okay,
probably one of those guys.
Do you have a preference?
I mean, Anderson started. I think Taurean Prince is the higher usage guy. I mean, just 12 shots in 13 minutes compared to 7 for Anderson. So probably Taurean Prince.
Okay. Put him at power forward.
Mm-hmm.
Taurean Prince. That gives us 58 a player. Let's see. What other range guys did we enjoy here? We like Cade. I'm going to get Cade in this lineup here.
Okay.
Is that fine? That work for you?
Yeah, I think Cade has 50. I think Cade has 50 in his bag here.
Okay. Well, Cade fits in a guard spot.
Maybe some Pat Will. I'm just looking at cheap.
We need a Houston Orlando spot here. In my opinion.
Ben Caro.
Can we even fit him in there?
No, he's like $1 million.
Ben Caro.
He's I think he's actually probably
Prince to shoot a small forward. 4,300 a player for shooting guard, forward, and utility if we threw Banchero in there. What was Wendell Carter? Wendell Carter was 75. We moved Towns to power forward.
Prince up to small forward.
Yeah, let's see. Wendell Carter and Towns to power forward. $4,700 a player.
We can make that. We can make that work.
Yeah, we can do that.
We can make that work.
We can make that work. Let's see. Any other low 4K? I mean, we liked one of the Toronto guys, Boucher or Achua.
Yeah, I'd be okay with either of them.
Which one's having the better half?
Neither of them particularly had good half.
Okay.
It was a classic Nick Nurse game, John, where it was actually Christian Coloco. He had 5 blocks. So he played 16. So he played 16 minutes in the first half. But they played 4 of the 5 starters played 16 or more minutes. Van Vliet played 20 in his return.
We're gonna play Torrey Craig at power forward, right? At forward?
Yep, sure. Torrey Craig, that's a good one.
Okay, Torrey Craig at forward spot. That's gonna give us 5K for a shooting guard into utility.
I think we liked both. There was a couple good, either Brogdon. We liked Melton. We liked Melton and Brogdon.
Yeah, we did. Let's go.
Guard spot.
Which do you prefer of the two?
I like either.
Melton's probably locked in for better minutes. Right?
More minutes, but I mean, probably. But Brogdon's also approaching 30. I'm okay with Mel. I mean, he took 18 shots last game.
Yeah, less shooters for him to deal with. Okay, so $4,800 util.
4,800.
Monty Morris, Jaden McDaniels, Bones Highland. If you want to.
If we're game theory,
I don't mind it. I don't mind the game theory.
Feels pretty good.
It feels pretty good. He's really good. All right, we'll plug him in. We're game theorying the Denver play. So we have Darius Garland, DeAnthony Melton, Taurean Prince, Karl Anthony Towns, Wendell Carter, Cade Cunningham, Torrey Craig, and Bones Highland. That leaves us $0 remaining. 15 game slate. Again, this is just an example lineup for our process. With 15 games, there's going to be a ton of news likely to break throughout the day. James will have the playbook, be in the Discord here, and ask us as many questions as you can. We'll be around to answer them for you. Any final thoughts for the people at home, James?
Nah, just back to what you and I both said at the beginning of this pod. Like, you just got to stay hip to all the news that's going to break throughout the day. Get in our Discord, get us on Twitter, get us wherever you can find us. We'll be in both those places all day. With any questions you have, whether it's strategy, lineup construction, whatever it is, just please ask because there's going to be a lot happening. So we want you to be prepared.
Yep, exactly there. So James and I will be back for Wednesday. No games on Tuesday, ladies and gentlemen. Maybe go play some hockey. We'll have Chris Murray, Andrew Dewhurst, Josh Wagner out there giving you some hockey DFS. But we'll be back for Wednesday's 13-game slate, so be on the lookout for that, and we will catch you guys later.